What's up, everybody? We back again. We're going to talk about this Eagles and Cowboys matchup, one of the premier matchups that everyone was waiting for. And then it didn't really matter because the Cowboys decided to lose in overtime last week, and Jalen Hurts got hurt and won't be playing. But this game still, it still matters. It still should be exciting. It's at the 4 o'clock slate on Saturday. I think it's only competing with the Commanders and 49ers. So those will be two interesting games to watch. Mike, what you got here? We got the Eagles plus 4.5 taking on your Cowboys in Dallas over under 47. What are you looking at here?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, the last two games I've been on here with the Cowboys, we've been wrong. We were right for 3/4 of the game, and then of course the fourth quarter comes, and then the Cowboys don't do what they're supposed to be doing. So they're just costing us money, costing everybody everything. But I don't know, man. Like I was saying to you right before we got on here, uh, the Eagles are so complete, man. They're complete offensively, offensive line. They got two great running backs. They defensively, they're one of the top defenses in the league too. Like Hurts is great, don't get me wrong, but like he's great because of the system he's in. And I think that's what. And Minshew is honestly a backup quarterback that he could be a starter on almost half the teams in this league. So, I mean, I really don't think they're gonna miss a beat even without Hurts. I think Minshew's competitive. And just the way this Cowboy team just falls apart, man. I just like it's just hard to trust. It's hard for them to cover basically a touchdown. And this is a game they 110% need and should win. And I think that's why I'm going to lead the Eagles here. I think I'm going to take the Eagles to cover and potentially win this game.
I didn't realize I was on mute. My bad. But I definitely didn't expect you to go that route this week with Hurts coming, with Hurts being out.
Not a
But I get
biased
what you're
Cowboys
saying.
fan.
I get what you're saying though. I kind of lean the Cowboys though to get the job done. I feel like this game kind of favors them with Minshew in the game. Obviously, the pass rush has been amazing for the Cowboys. The Eagles, they haven't been great, at not getting sacked. And Jalen Hurts obviously can get away a lot better than Minshew. He's a fantastic runner. I think they might have some pressure there that Minshew's not able to get away from. He hasn't played in game action in a while. I know he was exciting and electric when he was starting for the Jaguars, but he's got weapons, things like that. But I think this is going to be a game where both teams kind of rely on the run and they just go run heavy in this game. We're going to be talking about a lot of run this weekend with all the weather everywhere in the Northeast and whatnot. Obviously, This one, that doesn't matter. But the matchups just work out for that. The Cowboys, one of their weaknesses on defense is getting gashed on the run. And same with the Eagles. That's one place that the Cowboys should attack with their two-headed monster back there. What do you think about these run games? Do you like I personally like Miles Sanders over for sure. With the fact of Jalen Hurts being out, I think they're just going to try to lean on that, not put Gardner Minshew in positions to make mistakes that could cost the game. I think the way that they stay close in this game with a backup quarterback in is by running the ball, controlling clock, keeping the Cowboys offense off the field. As good as the Eagles defense has been, the Cowboys offense, they are electric at times. And the Colts learned that, and the Colts are a very good defense. And that the second half of that game, they got the break speed off of them. Now they were dealing with bad field position because of a ton of turnovers, but we are talking about a backup quarterback that hasn't played in a while. Even though you said, obviously you think highly of him because you think he can be a starter on some teams. I kind of tend to agree with you on that, but he hasn't played in a while. Might be a little rusty at first. And yeah, I just feel like the Cowboys are going to be able to get this one done.
Fair enough. I mean, it just, there's one thing of being a Cowboys fan. I know the media hypes up the Cowboys and Cowboy fans to be annoying, and they are annoying people, man. There's a lot of annoying fans and a lot of bases, especially the one in Philly. But I'm not gonna get into that. But at the same time, man, like like true fans who know what's going on with this team and like how you have that feeling and all that stuff. And it is December. This is the time when the Cowboys collapse, and it's not a myth anymore. With the Cowboys collapse, everything. Obviously, they clinched the playoffs, everything like that, and their goal should be to not give this Eagles team the first round bye, because obviously the Eagles win one game out of their next three. They get that first round bye regardless. So the Cowboys should have all the motivation in the world to stop it. And that's why I was on the fence. I want to take the Cowboys to win this game. They should win this game. Everything's in their favor with Dak being back, with Hurts being out. It's at home. I just there's so many things there, but then it just it's just like, I don't know, like reverse psychology. That's what I look at. So like, I don't know. I just think this Eagles team is really complete. I just got to give that to them. They're so complete, and like even with Hurts out, I know he's a big factor in the offense, everything like that. That defense is still elite, and everything around that offense is so elite. So I just think that, like you said, with Miles Sanders in the run game and what they could do, this Dallas defense that we know that are very weak to the run. I can see Sanders having a big day. I can see the play action being a big day. You still have AJ Brown, still got
Yeah.
Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Don't need Minshew to make any crazy throws to them either. They're always open. So like it's just like one of those things that, I just think this team is so complete. I think they can just run away with it. Not run away with it. I think it'll be a close game, obviously, but the Cowboys will definitely make mistakes compared to the Eagles. I think the Eagles are just, there are more disciplined team than the Cowboys, and we've seen that over the last 4 weeks. And no Hurts or not, they're going to be more disciplined. It is what it is. So I think that's why I'm leaning with the Eagles and everything.
Now, those points I have to agree with. I definitely think you're right about that. I just feel like they get it over the hump. I think they match up just a little bit better. The Hurts being out of the game, I don't want to make it like a huge thing because you're right. They are a complete team with or without Hurts. They can have success. I do agree with that. It's just the worst week to experiment with that against this Cowboys team. I mean, I do hold the Cowboys in high regards. You're right about December and how it goes for them and
I do
whatnot.
gotta,
So,
I'm saying I do gotta agree with you to an extent. Like this might be the biggest game that the Eagles have faced like all year. Like, dude, you look at that team with their schedule and everything like that. Like, and you're right. This is probably the worst time to experiment with someone that's not Hurts. You're right. But I just like, they have beaten some decent teams, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Titans when they were kind of on a roll. Obviously, they beat the Vikings earlier in the year. I mean, that was kind of too early to tell, but like, I don't know. Like, you are right to an extent. Like, this is probably the hardest and biggest game the Eagles have faced all year. So, I mean, I could definitely see why you're leaning that side also. Like, I'm just, being the Cowboys fan I am and how I have belief in this team right now, especially this time of year, especially year after year, I just feel like this is just a game that I'd be expecting the Cowboys to lose. And I think that's why I'm leaning the Eagles.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong either. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm fully backing the Cowboys at -4.5. I really haven't made up my mind on that. I don't want to back the Eagles though on the 4.5. I think I know that for sure. Just because it could get away from them. And we haven't seen Minshew in this offense. Yes, so much talent around them and everything, but do they switch the game plan up? We don't, me and Chad always say, we make points a lot, and a lot of those points are always assuming rational coaching. Like, do you need to change a whole lot of things up because Minshew's the starter this week? I don't think so because there's still a complete team. But will the coach go in and just completely change the game plan and give Miles Sanders the ball 25 times or something, and it doesn't work out for him? I don't know. You know what I mean? So we can't assume the rational coaching. I'm not saying that I think the Cowboys are going to be able to win by a touchdown here. I think they pull out the win. The Eagles could cover. So, I'm not taking a side here officially at all, but that's just kind of how I see the game going.
Yeah, definitely. I just see this game going either way. I think that the spread is very tricky. Like, if the Cowboys do win this game, I think the 4.5 number is very sketchy. Like, I think it's like that's where they get you. Like, I definitely can see it being a field goal win or something like that. If the Cowboys do pull this off, and obviously, that's why I'm leaning toward the Eagles a little more, because obviously it's a big number to cover. They could lose by a game-winning field goal in dramatic fashion and cover, and obviously I can still see them winning this game too. So I think there's more benefits to lean toward Eagles than towards the Cowboys here, or even what you're saying too. Like, definitely would tease. Like, I would maybe have the Cowboys get teased down to like maybe -1 or even plus points, like +1 or something like that. Yeah, so
even teasing them to plus money might be the best idea, actually.
Exactly.
Really. All right, so we mentioned I think we've exhausted the the sides of it. We're not going to get anywhere with that because as we keep saying, it could go either way. Really, we're both making good points. This is a tough one. It's priced pretty well. We're definitely both not confident enough to really take either side at that exact number there. But we know that the Eagles, they've plugged up some of those gaps with the run game defensively that they were struggling with. But Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, they've been both great all season. The books have finally been pricing them kind of together. Like right now, they're both at that 60.5 number. So it's they're making it very tough. It's a tough read because one of those guys is going to get 65. One of those guys is going to get 50 or something like that. It's a tough read. How would you play that in this game? Do you think it's worth playing either, or do you maybe just wait until you're making a parlay and tone them both down to 40 yards each or something like that, which we have been doing and recommending the past couple weeks? But is this the week where like one guy kind of takes over, or because they're priced the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of genius by sports books there to kind of see, like, I think they can catch you slipping a little bit. I mean, if you take both and, they're both the same number, you're like, you know what, they're both evenly matched. And, I could take both and get some good money out of it. But, they'll depending on the snap count and everything like that, too, like they can screw you a little bit. Probably I can see like you getting screwed on Zeke by a yard or two, or then, or vice versa with Pollard. Like I said, I think they're going to have evenly split snaps and everything like that. I just think it depends on like how the workflow is going and who's doing really well when they're in there. Like, we definitely seen Tony Pollard have Tony Pollard games, and then we've seen Zeke have Zeke games. That's what makes the two-headed monster so deadly. So, but at the same time, I think they're going to need both of them in this game.
Yeah.
And I think both of them are going to be an effect in this game. Like you said, the Eagles' probably biggest weakness of their team is their run defense. But they still have that that monster in the middle there. What's his name? The one that they drafted, Jordan Davis. Is that his name? I think
Yeah. And
then Jordan Davis, Sue.
They plugged. They plugged that problem really, and they've been doing well since they got those guys off the streets. Now I know those guys are older. They're not pulling huge snap counts. They came in fresh off the couch, but they're plugging that gap, and that's all you really need from them because they're a disciplined team, like you said, and they disciplined tackling wise and everything like that. They'll make the play as long as the gaps are plugged a little bit. So I feel like they are going to be able to. They're going to need both of these running backs. The Cowboys are against that really good pass defense by the Eagles. I feel like they might use Tony Pollard more in his little game breaker style where he can, where he gets out in the flat or out on screens and things. So I think if you're going with the rushing prop, maybe go Zeke for the rushing. But if you do like Pollard, I think maybe even take those couple extra yards and do the rushing plus receiving. I'll see if they have that up right now. Let me check. Yeah, they do. So they have his rushing and receiving at 20 yards more. So 82.5. I think that might be the better play if you're going to play Pollard rather than the rushing yards, because you might get stuck where he gets 45 rushing yards. Zeke ends up getting 70, a bulk of the carries, but Pollard is in there getting 50 yards receiving.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that a lot too. And I mean, like when it comes to the yards and everything like that, like I said, they might screw you a couple yards or two, like depending on the workload. And even with the Eagles too, I'm obviously saying there's the main guy over there, but they have basically a committee over there. It's not as big as a committee as other teams where they use 50-50, but I mean, they have Gainwell, they have Boss Scott, they have other guys in there that they will put in there. And I think that's what makes it sketchy with the yards and everything like that. But if there was something I really like for a player prop this week, I think you're totally right when it comes to the quarterbacks. They've seen how Dak's been struggling with the interceptions and him throwing the ball. I do think that Dak needs to have a perfect game here in order for the Cowboys to win as well. And he has to limit the turnovers. Obviously, Dak's going to have to throw the ball in some situations here, but I think that, they need to trust their run game for once, and they have to win this game. I think that Kellen Moore will get that hint. I hope so. So if there's like a player
and
prop,
assume rational coaching.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. You're right. Exactly. You're right. And same
it's
thing
the
with
toughest
Sirianni.
part of handicapping. You know what I mean? It really is.
Man. Yeah, and then same thing with Sirianni. Obviously, you don't want to put the ball in Minshew's hands too much to make plays and make mistakes. So if there's a player prop that I really like, I would like a 2-touchdown parlay lay. Lay. I guess that makes sense. I would definitely take Sanders. I would definitely take Sanders at Pollard.
You would lay the parlay.
Lay the parlay. Yeah.
If
if there's two guys in that game, I would definitely like Sanders, and I would definitely like Pollard to score anytime. So
listen, I might have to roll with that. We usually end up doing at least one of those, free for alls. Just let's have a blast and see if this can hit type of game. We always do at least one of those lays. We always lay at least one of those lays. Usually every weekend. So that might be the one we have to go with there. I do like that recommendation. Just hand the ball off and get through this game for both teams, because yes, it matters a lot, but there's also the side of it where it doesn't matter. And it's like, you don't want anybody else to really get hurt. Like that's why Jalen Hurts is sitting, because as much as it matters, man, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
They're both going to the playoffs. I mean, yes, there's positioning. That stuff matters. I'm not taking that out. That bye week is going to matter. But like it doesn't matter to the point where like you want to risk people getting hurt and just doing too much and going too hard in this game. Obviously the hurt risk, it's cliche to say that because that risk is every game, no matter what. So it's not like a huge point I'm making there, but like they could just try to get out of this one, just let's hand the ball off. Let's try to keep it close, get a win and get on the bus and get on it next
and
week.
go
So
home. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Because they can clinch the number one seed next week. Everything like
Mhm.
that. So I mean, like I totally understand. It just sucks, man. Like I know this is a betting pod, everything like that. It's not me venting my feelings, but it's just crazy that Cowboys had 2 games where they should have won, and they were up by 2 scores to each of them. And this game, think about that. The Cowboys didn't blow the lead against the Packers, and the Cowboys don't blow that game against Jacksonville last week. This game literally is the winner goes, it gets the number one seed, takes the NFC East. Like that's like, of course
Yeah,
not, though, right? Like,
remember we talked about it being the opposite last
yeah,
week, where if the
yeah,
Eagles lost and the Cowboys won, it's really all the marbles.
mhm,
And then the exact opposite happened. And I gotta say,
exactly.
since you brought it up, I wasn't gonna bring it up and rub it in your face or anything,
No,
but
rub it,
you brought it
rub it.
up. This show right here, Men of Order Sports, we've been on both of those calls. The Packers money line we had, and I had the Jaguars money line last week as well.
Genius.
So I'm just saying, I'm gonna toot my own horn real quick since you brought it up. But
All right, so who you got? If you want to toot your own horn, who you got this week? Please tell me it's the
oh
Cowboys.
boy.
That's
Listen,
good.
I think there's 2 scenarios. That obviously there's more, but in my head, there's 2 scenarios here. Everything goes perfect for Dak. He plays a very good game. They run the ball. They have success doing it. And Minshew kind of struggles a little bit, maybe
Mhm.
even just early. And the Cowboys are able to win this game by 10 to 14 points. Or all hell breaks loose, and this is a 3-point game in either team's favor. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's either
yeah,
going to be bang, bang, yard for yard, score for score type of game, or it's going to be the Cowboys being able to just break away and that Minshew effect actually being a real effect without Jalen Hurts, which we haven't seen yet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
exactly.
I'm definitely curious. This is a game I'm not going to bet either side with my own money personally, probably,
Oh, I'm not
unless
touching it.
something changes before tomorrow. I'm not. I'm off it. But
Yeah.
there is some value that we'll find in the player props. So we'll do that show tomorrow morning as well.
Yeah, man, sounds good. I mean, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like, we'll see. I think it's going to be option number 2 that you explained. I think it's going to be, I think it's be, I think it's be Cowboys start slow, Cowboys make all the mistakes, and because Minshew's in there, they have an opportunity to stay in it. And I think they're just going to make it interesting, and they can either pull it out or they'll lose. And I think that's what's going to happen. There's never a game where the Cowboys will win by 10 to 14 points. It's not a stress. Take last week. Take last week, for example. Take the Packers game, for
Yeah.
example. I was
Yo,
sitting
yeah,
in the street.
I'm hoping that 10 to 14 point lead happens in like the last 4 minutes, not any time
Yeah,
before that.
not
Because if
before
it happens
half.
before that, I'm not happy.
Live bet it.
And I'm not comfortable.
Live bet the
Yeah,
Eagles if that happens. I swear.
you're
Live
right.
bet, live bet the
Money
Eagles.
line.
That's yeah, exactly. You
Honestly,
want profit?
at this point, just bet every underdog all NFL season. You'd be profitable. Bet any underdog once they're down by 30, you'd be profitable.
Yeah, man.
Just
How crazy was that, man? That's
dude,
nuts.
I had these guys at my bar. They own one of the car dealerships up the street. So it's not, it's not real money to them. But
Hmm.
they were asking around. They're like, yo, should we do it? Should we do it? I'm like, bro, $100 is like 5 pennies to you guys. Like, fucking
Do
slam
it.
the Vikings. Why not?
Yeah.
33 nothing at halftime. They slammed the Vikings, $100 each, 3 of them.
What they
So
get what they get at that? Like what was the
I
odds?
forget what
What were
number
the
they
odds?
got. I think it was
Damn.
4,500 when they got it.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
So
That's
I
awesome.
think they hit for 4,500 each on the $100 ticket.
I'm pretty sure I
Um,
sprinkled it when they were down 2 scores, like going into the end of the third quarter. I think I
yeah.
did.
See,
I put it in there.
I was pissed at myself because I was working when it was happening. I'm watching the game, and I told somebody at the bar, I was like, bro, see, if I like the Vikings at all today, I would take them now. But I was a little
Mhm.
busy, and I didn't go lock it in. But he locked it in and cashed out. But he
Oh
got it.
yeah.
He got it before those guys did it. Like those guys did it at like almost its peak when it was like plus 4,500 or whatever it was.
It's
And
amazing.
yeah, they cashed out. So the whole bar was rooting for them by the end of the game. So it was electric. And I
That's
had
so
them
cool.
winning in a parlay that was still alive. It ended up dying in the night game. But I
Ah,
had one that had 3 legs from each game that day, and I needed the Vikings to win as one of those legs. So like I was hyped when it happened too, because it kept my lay alive
yeah,
for
kept it
at least
alive, man.
it kept it alive all night, and then it got ruined. But we had a whole lot of fun for $5. So
Yeah, there you go, man. There you
you
go.
know,
That's awesome.
can't do that
That's
anywhere
awesome.
else.
For sure, exactly.
But yeah, anything else on this game you got or?
Nah, man. Like you said, I'm gonna stay away from the money line. I'm gonna stay away from the spread. Maybe tease it if I'm, if I feel anything. Maybe you tease the number, like the over under too. Like I have no idea. Like you said, they could come out, they could go score for score, or they'll be just run the ball and get the hell out of there. So I
Yeah,
honestly don't know.
yeah.
I don't know either. But I really do like the Sanders and I like the Pollard parlay. I think that might be my biggest play. I'll throw a couple on that because these run game for both of these teams need to be effective in this game for either of them to have a chance. So I think that'd be my favorite play of the game for sure.
Yeah, and we don't have receptions props for everybody yet. Only CD Lamb last I checked. But
Mhm.
I will also probably be taking a look at AJ Brown. I think as like a
Always.
big target, big safety blanket with your backup quarterback in against a
Yeah.
good a good serviceable Dallas Cowboys defense with a great pass rush.
Yeah. If
Just
anything, I
some
would lean.
quick slants and things like that to AJ Brown, where you just have a big
Yeah.
target where Mitch just has to put it somewhere in that range and he can get it and it won't be a turnover.
Yeah.
So I think they'll
I
go
was
to
gonna
a lot of
say.
that. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say too, even with because obviously Diggs is gonna be on AJ Brown, so you can even take a look at Smith, who
Yeah.
had a lot of success the first game around against the Cowboys. So
Mhm.
obviously no Anthony Brown for the Cowboys are depleted in the secondary besides Diggs. So
And
you might want to take a look at him.
Diggs is banged up too. That's
Yeah,
he's
they're
gonna
all
play, but he's
freaking
banged
banged
up.
up.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
They're all
yeah. I mean,
freaking
it's that
banged
point
up.
in the season where the whole team's banged up, but he's banged up to
Yeah,
the point he's on the injury report as well. Is what I'm
yeah,
getting
of
at. But
course.
the whole
Yeah.
teams are banged up, obviously. And Dallas Goddard is back also, so that's another big target
Oh
that
yeah,
Minshew could use. So
that is
that
very
could work
true.
too. How have tight ends usually fared against the Cowboys? From
I'm pretty
off the top
sure.
of your head.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I know that Cowboys are like I think like I know fantasy point wise, at least I know that doesn't put that much effect on anything, but fantasy point wise, I think they allow the fourth most fewest points to
Okay,
tight
so
ends.
they usually
So
do.
they usually
They
do
lock
well
him up a
against tight
little well.
ends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think just having him back a big target, he might be worth a look too, even despite that.
distraction.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
even
distraction
despite
for
it. So
Smith and AJ Brown. So
yeah, okay, yeah, we could play that too. Yeah, maybe stay away from Goddard because it's his first game back. We don't know how often they're going to use him and things like that. But all of this is, we're just talking because we don't have the lines
yeah,
yet. So we got to see what
yeah,
number they put up. If they put AJ Brown up for 5.5 catches, I don't know if I'm going to take that. If they put him for 4.5, I probably like it.
maybe
I mean, it's amazing how big a difference that is on that. But
it
I
is.
think they'll
It is
target AJ Brown a lot, just having that big target for Minshew to just put it somewhere in the area.
for sure.
But yeah, I guess that's a wrap. I guess that's all we got. Make sure you check out our other videos for this weekend. And yeah, happy betting, everybody.
I said happy holidays to you too, Adam, and everybody else.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. Thank you. And yeah,
Thanks,
thanks
sir.
for coming on again. We'll see you
Of
next
course.
week. We'll get in touch for that as well.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Peace. Have a good weekend. Go Cowboys for you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.